I have to let Councilmember Bailey speak now.
I agree, Councilman Ehrenreich. And I think that the majority of us here would agree that the current model, which is the current fire department with the interlocal agreement, is the level of service that most of us would like to see. As far as staff to explore the two models, I think that we owe it to the citizens to really cost out and look at what it would cost to do a standalone fire department, and then, of course, to get with Lakewood and see about continuing with them.
That's what I agree. Chief Merritt.
I want to interject just one thing I think is an important point that everybody needs to know as we set the table. I call it an external factor. And the external factor is that if we're authorized, if we head down the path of having discussions with Lakewood, we need to understand that Lakewood is a very professional, very highly trained, very well-equipped department, and they have set standards of coverage and a level of service that they provide to their community and a level of service that they provide in terms of training, safety, processes for their personnel. And I'm gonna guess that Lakewood, in any form of discussions that we have, would probably not offer services or any erosion from standards that they have in their own organization. In other words, I'm fairly confident from a labor management standpoint that Lakewood is not going to stand up or provide a model of some fashion in DuPont that doesn't look fairly similar in terms of personnel, levels of service, levels of training that they currently have. We're not going to ask. In other words, we can't walk in there carte blanche and say this is what we want. Some of that will have to be measured by what they have and what they provide and the level that they provide it. Not that that's necessarily a limiting factor, but let's just use just an example. Let's just say, for example, that we choose a model that says, you know what, we think 2 folks on a fire engine is fine and it's all we can afford. Lakewood would opt out. They have a standard that says we put 3 people on there, or a standard that says, well, you know what, we're going to, we can use any number of examples. We just need to be careful that in our discussions, when Bill and I talk there'll be some external influence as to how liberal the options would be to us based upon their organization and how they're staffed, how they're trained, and how they deliver their services. I'm going to be fairly confident that they wouldn't stand up a program that would look too dissimilar to that.
And if I could add, one of the reasons it's important that we get together with them is to make sure that we cover or uncover any issues that might be lurking out there that haven't been a part of the discussion with the interlocal that we've got now. And I don't know that there are any. Bob is, I think, framed a hypothetical. There may not be any, but that's why we need to be able to start from where we're at now and then say, okay, projecting that into 2009, are there any changes or any wild cards that cost money that we need to know about?